is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Go ahead, take a shot. All right, good evening, everyone, and we're happy to have another Mid-Dale Coaches Show for you, a Thanksgiving edition of sorts here at the Bricktown Brewery in Midwest City. You should come to the Bricktown Brewery tomorrow, the day before Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving you'll have Thanksgiving food. Tomorrow you can have pizza, because they have half-price pizzas every Wednesday. And, of course, you can download the app for any types of discounts you want through the Bricktown Brewery here in Midwest City. Also, this show is brought to you by Tooney Buys Houses. Tooney Buys Houses, we buy and renovate homes. We also lease and owner finance homes throughout the state of Oklahoma. Phone number to call is 405-931-3046. Okay, we're going to talk Del City football with their head coach, Robert Jones. Coach, you know, this is interesting to me here. You told me last week after you beat Shawnee 31-0, you had some people texting you, and they're like, hey, what happened? Why didn't you win by more points? And looking back at it, it's because you guys really set the bar high.
Yeah.
And then what happened against McGinnis is the reason why. You beat a team like that by that score. I mean, people are going to expect that from you every week.
Yeah, and we had some discipline issues as well. We had to suspend 4 starters for the first quarter.
Okay.
So I think that kind of played a role in that game versus Shawnee. I think it kind of got us – the chemistry and the meshing wasn't what was supposed to be at the beginning of the game. And, you know, that's going to throw any team off when you have to suspend 4 starters because of disciplinary reasons. So that played a role in it. We had a good week last week in the building. We didn't have to suspend anybody, and we only had 2 penalties, which one of the penalties came late in the game with a delay of game that I intentionally did because I wanted to kick a field goal and get him Tony Rios ready just in case he had to utilize that later on in the playoffs versus Carl Albert. So I just felt like we had all our bullets in the chamber, and we came out and we played Del City football. We were disciplined. We played with toughness, and that's who we are. If we can play together and we can get everybody on the same page during the week on and off the field.
Let's go ahead and bring in your assistant coach you brought with us, Coach Shields.
Yes, sir. We got Coach Shields here. He's been our special team coordinator for the last 3 years.
Okay.
He also coaches our defensive line. He also helps me with the offense as well, with the offensive line, and helped me coordinate the offense. So glad to have him. He's a Del City alumni. He played at East Central, so he's been on the show before, so we're glad to have him here with us tonight.
Absolutely. Okay, so back to the game against McGinnis.
Yes, sir.
I counted, 8 turnovers you guys forced? But before it got about 56-0, then I kind of tuned out at that point. I was like, okay, I've seen enough there.
I believe it was 6 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. But we did drop a couple interceptions.
Yeah.
It was just one of those nights, man. You know, you have one of those nights where everything's going our way. I don't think the score really was an indication of who Bishop McGinnis is as a team. I think they're a lot better than what the score showed. I just think we had a lot of things go our way. And I told our kids, when you work hard and you do things right, sometimes the ball falls your way in football. So, you know, the score does not indicate what type of team that was. That was a physical football team, very disciplined football team. They have a great program. We were very worried as coaches. We knew what kind of game that would be. Unfortunately, the score didn't show it, but they were way better than what the score showed.
Yeah, I couldn't believe – and some of it was self-inflicted errors by McGinnis, but there were some spectacular plays by your guys as well that we'll get to. Coach Shields, first as a defensive line coach, what was important for you guys against McGinnis? Because they are known as a physical team who can run the ball, but you kept them at bay in that regard. What was an important part of your game plan?
One of the most important parts was playing physical, winning up front and playing physical, being dominant up front, and just not taking a punch to them and not letting them come out and take the first blow against us.
And how do you feel like your defensive line executed?
I believe they did very well. It's still a lot that we need to work on, it's still a lot that we need to work on, but we definitely took the initiative to go out there and establish, just without the front seven, just the front four to come out there and establish very much dominance against a great program.
All right, Coach, back to offense here for a bit. You ended up deciding to go with Sincere. You said why in the beginning of the broadcast. He was healthy and he looked better. Still waiting on Cash to get closer to 100%.
Yeah.
And you definitely, I feel like with Sincere, it's not that he can't throw the ball, but you do look to use him as a runner.
Yeah.
And you had that going because your offensive line was good from the get-go, and that you set a tone with that first drive. But how do you see it with that?
As far as the quarterback situation?
Well, as far as with Sincere, you guys being able to run the ball.
Yeah, I think it just gives you that triple head option. You know, you got the running game, obviously, with the running backs and the trio of running backs we have with Caleb Blackwood, Rickland Holmes, and Jeremiah Miles. It was great to get him back in the mix as well because he just gives us a different dynamic with our team, and he allows Rickland and Caleb to be a little bit more fresh for the defense. And then you have Sincere. He just gives you more with his legs than Cash does, especially with Cash and his ankle injury. And that just makes it hard to prepare for. You know, I was a defensive coordinator for multiple years, and the thing I used to hate to go against the worst was a team that had a running quarterback who was able to have design runs, have a read game type run scheme, and then also to be able to create plays with your feet outside the pocket. So I just felt like he was healthy. He was able to give us some things in the run game, and he's more than capable in the pass game. But that doesn't mean Cash isn't still an option. Cash is still working on getting healthy. Cash is splitting the reps, and I feel comfortable if he had to be in the game. I just feel like at that moment, for the best thing for the program was to go with the more healthier quarterback and the quarterback that can give you some things with the legs at the time.
And I saw you go with the 2 running back set at times. Is that something you guys have been doing, or we're using it more than normal in this game, or especially early on?
Yeah, it's something that we've been working on for a while. It's a lot of things that I work on behind the scenes that I don't, just with our schedule and the way it worked out against our opponents and how we were the lopsided scores. You just didn't get to use all your packages. You didn't get to use everything that you had in your bag. So we felt like this was the game that we need to pull out some of those things we had in our bag, and that set was one of them. This week next week we'll have some things we haven't shown all year as well. I think that's just part of the chess game that you use in the football world. You're always going to have some things behind the scenes that you haven't used all year that you can surprise your opponent in the next week.
Coach Shields, I thought one of your early stops that helped your team build all that momentum was when Bishop McGinnis had the ball in your territory, and you guys well defended a screen play they had on 3rd down.
Yes, sir.
What's the preparation like for the screen? Because I know you probably see some of that against Carl Albert in 2 weeks.
Yes. One thing that we do harp on is it's never that easy to get to the quarterback. It's never that easy to get in the backfield. So if you feel where they're just letting you go and you didn't have to actually fight or grind and grit to get to the quarterback, then it's probably a screen. We need to get our eyes to the right place, man, retrace and try to rally up and make tackles.
And then big play was decided to let Rickland Holmes have a chance to run a punt back for a fake.
Absolutely.
Coach Shields, talk about that process. I know you probably had it in the playbook for a while.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, what goes into the decision to finally use it? Is that something you suggest to Coach Jones or vice versa?
It's something that me and Coach Jones definitely have talked about. It was one of those decisions. I mean, I looked at him to see, but he was in his own zone. So I make the split decision to call that play. I mean, I believe it was 4th and 6.
Man, I told him to call. I'm just playing. No, it's something we've been working on for a while. He made a great decision to call it. This something we've been working on since week 1.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, and it was just a great opportunity. And then having a guy like Rickland Holmes to be your punter, who's also a great running back and a great linebacker, and someone that actually is a big threat with his feet. So we took the opportunity and did a great job of blocking. I mean, we got a penalty at the end, but
questionable holding, very questionable holding.
real questionable.
Golly.
I mean, but it was a great opportunity to see that, to force someone to work that.
Well, you scored a touchdown anyway with that. But what was interesting is you guys had the ball in McGinnis territory, and like you said, it was 4th and 6. And I would think that McGinnis was their coaches probably were mentioning that to their players, and you guys executed great anyway, because it is a perfect situation to do it. They had to be thinking about it, and it didn't matter. They couldn't stop it.
So, alignment issues. We knew we knew from studying film and looking how they aligned against other teams' punt that we would be in a situation that we had the edge. And sometimes in football, it comes down to they're going to know how you align, and you know how they align. Sometimes it just comes down to who's going to execute the play, who's going to use the correct technique to make you successful. And our kids use the correct technique. And then it does help when you have a Division I athlete like Rickland who can outrun a lot of people as well. So it was just a lot of different factors in that. So we were happy that we were able to execute that. And if we had to utilize it in the future, we will.
Before that, I think there was a fumble. They did complete a couple passes against you guys early.
Yeah.
But there was one pass they completed where I couldn't tell whether it was DeMarion or KD who forced a fumble.
It was Nick Holmes.
Oh, Holmes. Okay,
Nick
Holmes.
Holmes.
So that has to go back to coaching as far as, when to try to poke the ball out, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, you have to – obviously people are going to catch the ball on you, but then after they catch you have to secure the tackle, and then as you secure the tackle, you need to be trying to strip it out. I think it was one of those deals that Nick knew that he had played the wrong technique, and I've been real hard on him the last couple weeks about that, and it was almost one of those plays that he made out of fear because he knew he was going to have to come back to that sideline, and it was going to be a butt chewing. So I really think he kind of got beat and he got out of position, but he did make up for it with great effort, and he was able to get the ball out and get it stripped, and he put us in a great position in the goal line to get another touchdown. Okay,
and also Rickland Holmes did get a defensive touchdown on a fumble recovery. I think it may have been a bad snap for McGinnis.
Yeah.
And so he had one return taken back, but then he gets this return. And I don't remember if the score was 21, or I think it was 28-0 at that point.
Yeah.
And McGinnis benched their quarterback. What was your reaction to that?
Well, they actually didn't bench him. They had been using a 2-quarterback system.
Oh, okay.
They brought him in. I feel like they felt like he was more of a pocket passer. Because they had been switching him sparingly. It wasn't like they were getting half and half of the rest, but they did bring him in at times. I feel like they got behind in the game, and they felt like he gave them a better option in the throwing game. So to me, I was kind of excited about it because I felt like number 4 was more of a run threat and run than throw option. But at that time, we felt real comfortable in our lead, and we felt comfortable in the athletes that we had in the back end to be able to cover their receivers. But to me, I was kind of excited that they took number 4 out. He's a Division I athlete. I believe he's signed to go to Missouri. So anytime somebody takes that type of athlete off the field, that's going to be exciting for us.
And as Colton said, that's to play baseball. But, yes, he definitely has an arm.
Yes, sir.
And you limited that. So, and then your receivers got involved. But for Marshawn Graham, his catching the ball was on defense.
Oh, yeah, he made some great plays.
Yeah, though one of those interceptions, I mean, he recovered. I think that was more of a recovery to where the ball was thrown deep.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about the other one, but I know he was a ball hawk out there.
Yeah, he has that type of talent. All year we've seen it in practice. We've seen it several times throughout the game. He's such a crazy athlete that he'll drop some easy catches where you're like, hey, man, that's such an easy catch, and then he'll go make that one-handed catch like he did on the interception. So just a great athlete, man. He's really bought into what we're preaching with the C-Dub mentality, being coachable, and he finally got rewarded for all his efforts and buying into what we're doing. And he's a special athlete, and he showed that to get those 2 interceptions were huge, not only for our team in that game, that was huge for him and his confidence and for his recruitment to show the college coaches what kind of talent he is. He's not just a receiver, he's a defensive back as well. So moving forward, he'll have a big part in the role in defense, and we're excited to see what he can do versus Carl Albert.
And Josiah Chester had a touchdown catch from Sincere. So Sincere he got involved in the passing game, and enough definitely to give your next opponent, who we'll talk about here in a bit, something to think about. Mm-hmm. And then Katie Palmer scored on a jet sweep. So you distribute the ball unbelievably well. And then finally, Coach, was it important to get another, and talking to Coach Shields, to get another field goal at the end, like you did against Shawnee to get Tony some practice? And how do you feel about him going forward?
I feel very confident in him. He's a young man that actually took on the role earlier this season and being very great. I think he only got 3 misses on the year with all of the scoring that we've been doing. That's a great testament to him and how he just coming out and being physical at the point of contact with the ball. Because it's been multiple times where we kind of questioned that in the past, in situations where we have the confidence in him to allow him to go out there and actually kick it.
Absolutely.
It's almost identical. Both field goals are almost identical to each other, the one against Shawnee, the one against McGinnis.
Yeah.
So how would you, Coach Shields, grade your defensive line from Bishop McGinnis game?
I mean, I'm a hard grader.
Exactly. That's why I asked.
Me personally, I mean, it was great to see, but it's still about a C+, B-, man. It's a lot of stuff that we could have done better. We were playing high a lot of times. Our stance was getting lazy because they was getting tired. Not using our hands, you know what I'm saying, all the time. It's just I coach and I want perfection from the D-line. And when I don't see it, it's a hard grade to give somebody a good grade regardless of how you winning or regardless of holding somebody to negative yards or something like that. It's still a hard grade that you have to give out because it's always something you got to work on. When you give out good grades, then people feel like they accomplished and they don't like to get better.
Absolutely.
Well, and Tony Rios went 9 of 9 from extra points and a made field goal. I think also on special teams you had they did attempt like a long onside, deep onside or something like that. You had pretty much taken care of.
Yes,
so
sir.
how do you grade your special teams as a whole? And real quick to add to that, so there was that penalty on the fake punt that Coach Jones said was questionable, but what do you tell your players about that? Does that count against them if you had to grade it?
In that situation, yes, it does.
Okay.
But special teams as a whole, as far as making plays and doing what we're coached to do, I gave the special teams just a regular B, just because, I mean, we had times where I just was calling different things, you know what I'm saying, like the one where they got good field position on the kickoff return. That was a mistake on me. I mean, we haven't practiced that all week, and I told Tony to do something that I typically tell him not to do, and he put the ball in a place where he haven't practiced. And so that was definitely something that I put on myself. So I didn't grade them hard on that one, but so it was a solid B for me as far as special teams and going out there and doing exactly what we're practicing and coaching. And I mean, we were up in the game, and I was just trying stuff out, which is something that I shouldn't have done. I should have just stayed hold to what we actually been practicing and what we actually been getting home on. So I can't fault the kids for me going out there and being cocky.
Okay, well, let's now talk about Carl Albert. And this is kind of the benchmark game, even though now it's in the semifinals.
Yeah.
You know, this is, you know, they're the one team you kind of have to get past because you're now going to play them in the playoffs 3 years in a row in 3 different rounds, interestingly enough. Mm-hmm. And obviously, even though Dell City football has taken off since you got there, Carl Albert football has been really good as well.
Yeah.
You're very familiar with their tradition. So I guess I'll start with this. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, but when you look back to last year's game, was there a couple things that kind of nagged at you that you wish took place differently that, you know, you're now going to prepare your guys for these next 2 weeks, or anything in particular to emphasize?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you play in a big-time game like that, I learned that as a player and as a coach, you're always going to have some things that you can go back in hindsight and think that you can change. One of the things I know for myself is I'm going to be more comfortable. You know, when you play in a big game, coaching a big game like that, it seems like it goes so fast. You just feel like you're floating for a while, and then the next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter. I think I'm going to be a lot more calm. I think I'm going to be a lot more aggressive. I think I've been able to put more work in just because we do have this bye week. And obviously I'm in a different role now than I was last year. I was helping out more on the defensive side of things, and I wasn't calling the offense. So I think the role of me calling the offense and me being in this game again for for the third time, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'll be a little bit more calm. I'm going to trust our kids. I'm going to trust our coaching staff more, and I just think that we'll be a little bit more electrifying than we have in the past offensively.
And on defense, now the interesting thing is they can kind of match you speed-wise. Mm-hmm. So they obviously have a ton of team speed, just like you
Absolutely.
guys do. What's important then when you're now playing against a team that you can say it about? Because that really wasn't true for much of the season.
Yeah. Well, when you're playing against a team that can match your athletic ability and your speed, and that can match your physicality, it comes down to technique. It comes down to being disciplined. And it comes down to being consistent in those things right there. And whichever team's not consistent in being disciplined and playing with the physicality that it takes to be successful versus that kind of team, it will show up. The last couple of times we played them, they just flat out whooped our butts. They were more physical, they were more disciplined, and we got out-coached as well. And that's something that we've been speaking about since last year. We really don't want to get out-coached. And you could just tell it from the start of the game that the physicality was just more on their end. And you have to be honest and truthful about that. If you're not going to change it. So we've been real open and honest about that, and we've been transparent with one another as coaches and kids. So we understand that we have to come out and we have to be physical from the jump. We have to be able to be disciplined and don't have penalties. And then we have to set the tone and be consistent through that tone throughout the game. Then we have to do a better job of overcoming adversity throughout the game and not get so flustered because we're so used to winning. I feel like the last couple of years we've been so used to winning and winning lopsided wins that when we do get down or we get put in situations, we didn't know how to respond. But we're doing a good job of helping the kids throughout practice and reminding them and telling them and how they need to go about this. So I feel comfortable that we're all going to be in a better mental place for this game, regardless if we win or lose.
Coach Shields, Carl Albert, it doesn't matter what year it is, even though they had replaced their offensive line from last year, they still have a good one this year. Even though they replaced their running backs, they still have good running backs. What's the challenge there that you see? And in particular, when they go to, I guess, their heavy package, when they can use Daniel, or Jumbo, when they can use number 4, Daniel Newton, or number 16, Caden Davis, that seems to be almost automatic. So what are some of the challenges? I know you've watched it on film now a lot, I'm sure. What's the challenges there?
One is being physical and playing with great pad level. Playing with great pad level and then just being physical on the point of contact and not getting washed down. And just having a sense of urgency to get there. Because a lot of teams they understand and they know that they're in Jumbo, but a lot of teams you still see people down on their knees, not in their stance, ready for the contact that they're about to receive, and then a lot of people still come out and play high. So that's one thing that we're preaching with them boys. Stay low, get in the 4-point stands, man. Get down there. Just know it's going to be a greedy game when they get in that situation, and to understand where they like to run the ball in those situations.
Coach Jones, how do you feel about the fact that they are extending 5A playoffs? I think 4A, a couple other classes are as well. And you have a bye week for heading into the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then so they're pushing everything back a week, semifinals and finals. First off, on a side note, I feel bad for Coach Hatchett because he's waiting on some really good basketball players.
Yeah.
But I know he's fully behind you 100%.
Absolutely.
But then, this is unusual. Having and this could be the most important game you have because, not that Newcastle or Guthrie wouldn't be tough around later, but obviously this is kind of like, one of the best
teams in the state, absolutely. Yeah. I think, to be honest, who wouldn't want an extra week to prepare for Carl Albert? If you got to see what I've seen on film and the caliber of athletes that they have, they have 4 Division I players playing on defense, and these guys aren't just the Division I players. They're nice size, they play hard, they play physical, they play with character, and you also know what kind of coaching staff they have. They have coordinators that have been there for years. Coach Johnson was there when I coached there. So to give us an extra week to prepare, it's beneficial for us. And it gives us an extra week to get healthy. Cash can get healthy. Miles can get more healthier. We have several other players that are banged up that can get healthy. And you can get refreshed and you can get re-energized. We're off for Thanksgiving break. So to be able to we're practicing at 12:30. So to be able to sleep in, to be able to watch more film, those are things that'll help you next week and to be able to have 2 weeks to have a game plan. Instead of having to rush things and feeling unsure, I think we'll have more time to kind of work out the kinks this week, and then we'll be able to really cement what we want to do next week. So I'm happy with it. I know a lot of coaches want to get out and play. They don't want to mess up the rhythm. I think once it boils down to it, it's all about getting out there and playing. But this does help me mentally. I think it helps our kids mentally, and I think it gets everyone refreshed. It gets everybody more time and get everybody more of a foundation to be confident in the game plan we're going to put forward towards them.
Yeah, you mentioned Cash. He could definitely benefit from another week.
Absolutely.
Coach Shields, what do you think about the bye week? And in particular, I always thinking about it as just someone just observing high school football, a special teams coach I would think would really like to have an extra week because that's just more stuff you can do. You gave Coach Farley, the Carl Albert special teams coach, something to think about with that fake, so he's going to have to spend some time on that, obviously. And, of course, they have Trinae Washington who can do kind of the same thing that Rick can as a punter. So you got some things to think about there. So does this allow you to get more reps in for different types of scenarios and special teams?
Yes, it's definitely help us to dial in and focus on not only our fakes but the fakes that can be ran against us, and it helps me at least in practice see our weaknesses and know how to fix it and make it stronger so they don't take advantage of the weak points when it comes to their punt and our punt return.
Absolutely.
And so, but it also gives me a chance to see their weaknesses and know how to attack when it comes to that side of the ball with just watching film and understanding who to kick it to, not even on punt, just kickoff returns and kickoff to understand where to attack and how to try to get the ball back. If it comes to that situation, we haven't really shown outside kicks or anything like that. So just the understanding of the game and how it would go, it definitely helps you in these 2 weeks, especially with a team like Carl Albert, because they're going to come out disciplined. They're going to have some stuff that you probably haven't seen on film.
Absolutely.
So definitely gives you the hindsight of knowing where you can attack people and knowing that they're going to have something to attack you too. So you work different kinks and twists to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yes, sir.
And so you won't know about, I'm guessing, quarterback. You were playing in 9 days from now, so quarterback's something you won't really know about until you get closer.
No, we probably won't know till about 6:58.
There you go.
Friday evening.
You won't even tell Colton this time if you.
No, I'm not gonna say a word, boy. That caused me a lot of stress. I'm just gonna roll with the best decision for the program.
Yep.
It's crazy. You watch sports and you're a fan of sports your whole life, and you never think you're gonna be in a situation. You look at the Dak Prescott and the Tony Romo situation, now Jalen Hurts and Tua, Alabama. You just never know. I'm just glad we have two quality quarterbacks that are probably the better quarterbacks in 5A. So it's a great thing to have. It's actually a blessing, not a curse, to have two great quarterbacks. So they're competing in practice. And I tell them, hey, it's just like any other position. We have three great running backs.
Yep.
We got 3 or 4 great receivers. So I think it's one of those situations that two guys are competing their butts off, and then we're going to be able to have 9 days to prepare, and then we'll look at the film, and I'll make a decision on who's going to give us the best opportunity to be successful versus Carl Albert. So I'm really looking forward to that competition. I'm looking forward to see what they both can draw out of themselves to be able to get to the next level, competing on the high school level.
All right, well, guys, it will be Friday at PC North, but not this Friday. This Friday you can take the night off, or maybe go watch Edmond Memorial. By the way, how good is that team?
I said that. I told everybody. I said, hey, they're going to be a team that can compete for a state title.
Well, what a great year to have them on the schedule. I don't know if they've ever made the semifinals since the Edmond school split up.
No, this is their first time.
So
yeah,
an unusually good Edmond Memorial team, and a very good opponent for Del City. But that was weeks ago, of course. But they are actually playing in the semifinals this Friday in 6A. 5A will be Friday, December 6th. And it'll be at PC North, very nice football field, Del City and Carl Albert. Of course, this is about Del City right now, so tune in to watch Captain Kilty. Hopefully for Del City it's not his last game announcing, but either this game or the following week will be his last game announcing Del City football on the Oklahoma Sports Network. And if you go to the game, please tune into the broadcast using your smartphone and watch the playback of it afterwards if you can. So the matchup we've been, again, waiting on just like last year, Del City and Carl Albert. and it will be 7 o'clock, the kickoff 7 o'clock, pregame 6:30. Friday, December 6th at PC North, we'll have the Del City broadcast on the Oklahoma Sports Network, and this time there'll be video because it's the semifinals. All right, Coach Jones, thank you very much.
Thank
Coach
you.
Shields, great talking to you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Carl Albert coming up right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Whataburger's new Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double.
Sounds like a 5-alarm fire.
Not really, Frank. The jalapeno cream cheese, jalapeno ranch, and pickled jalapenos give it a pleasant heat.
So like a 4-alarm?
Nope. It's a delicious controlled blaze.
Like a little kitty stuck in a tree alarm.
Nah, hotter than that. Let's say the 2.5 alarm Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. I think the pole's broken.
New Whataburger Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. It's just a little hot.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and ask yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it? Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes,
Call Rob and Will.
If you've lived in Oklahoma long enough, you'll know that we get extreme weather. With that extreme weather comes hail damage to your roof and an insurance claim. When that happens, there's not a better company to deal with on your insurance claim than Cantrell Roofing and Construction. Since 1987, Cantrell Roofing and Construction has proven to be the best in the business, and always remember, got hail? Call Cantrell. Call them at 405-642-8558.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.
To contest the new Whata-Wings from Whataburger. What? Real wings have bones. And these boneless wings are actually premium chicken tender bites tossed in one of Whataburger's famous sauces. Honey butter, honey barbecue, buffalo, or
sweet and spicy.
And now Nashville hot? Those do not turn these Whata-Wings into real wings. I know what a real wing is. That it's not
Whata-Wings. Whataburger, Whata-Wings, it's Whata-Wings.
Whataburger's new Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double.
Sounds like a 5-alarm fire.
Not really, Frank. The jalapeno cream cheese, jalapeno ranch, and pickled jalapenos give it a pleasant heat.
So like a 4-alarm?
Nope. It's a delicious controlled blaze.
Like a little kitty stuck in a tree alarm.
Nah, hotter than that. Let's say the 2.5 alarm Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double. I think the pole's broken.
New Whataburger Bacon Blaze Jalapeno Double.
It's just a little hot. College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed, because your success is our success.
All right, welcome back to the Mid-Dale Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network here at the Bricktown Brewery in Midwest City. And don't worry, we are going to talk Carlsbad football, but we're going to kind of push that back a little bit here because right now we have the honor of talking Carlsbad girls basketball with our head coach Kyle Ritchie and a couple of players we've become very familiar with the last couple of years. So we look forward to this. Coach, let's start with this. You know, last year when I interviewed you at different times, you love that saying, which is a great saying, we before me. Are you going to keep using that, or do you have a new saying for this year's team?
We haven't come up with a motto yet, but until then, we'll ride with it. It's done us pretty well so far.
All right, so you did have the challenges where, you know, people might be expecting to see Essence Curry and Skylar Anderson, and they have moved on, even though they're still playing high school basketball. But that took place early in the summer, so you got a chance to prepare with new players rising up. How did that go? How did the offseason go dealing with those two being gone, and as well as Asha Moore?
It went great. I mean, these girls, I mean, you know, it's the world we live in, and these girls will understand. I told them before we got off the bus for our first scrimmage at Mustang, this group is going back to the state tournament. That is our mindset. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. And so they've worked hard all summer. They put in the time in the off season. Obviously, I didn't get a lot of them until after volleyball and softball, but as I always tell them, we want multi-sport athletes. Go win it in that sport, and I'll see you when your season's over. And now we finally we got them all together. We're working really hard and open up next week.
So you have some returning players familiar with, but then, of course, there's going to be some new players that are not necessarily new, but they're going to have an expanded role. What do you feel like can be the identity of this team that will help them compared to previous years? It will be kind of the same formula.
It's really kind of the same formula. It's not like we're still going to run. We're still going to do what we do. We're going to pick up. We're going to pick up full court. We're going to shoot it. We're going to pressure. It's not like we have a lot of size. So really our mentality hasn't changed. And so you're right, a couple other people, you know, we lost, you know, Asha graduated. And so three people, I mean, Audrey and Kari, hey, they're still fighting. They're being great leaders right now. You know, we had to replace three starters. And it's been a great, intense battle to try to find those three. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, what everybody's new role is. You know, These two, I'm not going to lie, they know that their role has to expand a little bit. I need a little bit more from them. Don't go crazy on me. But they're good basketball players. When it's there, they'll take it. If not, they trust the people that are playing with them. And that goes back to what you said to start this program, we over me. I'm not going to take a bad shot. I'm going to penetrate, kick. If they're open, you knock it down, and we go from there.
Okay, and scrimmage-wise in the last few weeks, any notable scrimmages against some really good opponents where you loved how your team played?
Oh, I mean, we played Washington today. They got us by 3 at the end, but, you know, that is a top caliber team. You know, we beat them in the finals of the Bertha Teague last year. They're going to be competing for a 3A title. Anadarko, very physical. I tried to mix up. I was talking to Banks and Asia, kind of mix up our scrimmages on big and physical, more up-tempo. We try to mix our scrimmages on people that we're seeing to face different styles. You know, faced a good Edmond Santa Fe team early on. We lost the UConn scrimmage to the Tornadoes that came through on that Monday. Shawnee, I mean, they got sent east this year, so Wendy and I hooked up a scrimmage. They're going to be really, really good. And so we're going to try to scrimmage the best to get ready for the regular season because our schedule is tough.
Yeah, you just edged out Shawnee to get a 2-seed last year, and that 2-seed is what kind of helped propel you to get back to state tournament. So any more scrimmages coming up over the Thanksgiving week?
We got one maybe in the works, but we'll see. If not, then we'll just have a good couple days of practice and then open up next Tuesday.
All right, let's bring in the two players here. So Jakari Brown and Audrey Plunkett. Jakari, so what a memory it was when you hit the game-winning shot in the regional championship against Del City. And you had a good game up to that point, and so that's kind of part of how you got the ball in your hands. Did that give you a lot of confidence for the rest of the postseason and then on into the off season? Like, was that an experience that kind of has helped propel you to expand your game?
Yeah, it gave us a lot of momentum going into like the next couple of games. Mm-hmm. Finding my shot, making more shots, just getting more confidence in what I was doing out there.
I felt like watching you play, you're a very similar player to Essence Curry, but Essence was more aggressive, so you did kind of defer to her at times throughout the season. Well, now you're going to have to do more with the basketball. Do you have to change kind of how you approach these scrimmages and games with that mentality to be more aggressive?
Yeah, I got to be more aggressive. I don't have to change my game that much. I still have more people to come help, like Hayden, Jordan. So I'm pretty much still in the same position, but looking more for my shots and. Yeah, and then Audrey at 5'10", but you can run, and I'll never forget the game you had against Altus to get them to state. You were so disruptive on defense the second half. So you're kind of like what they call switchblade, someone who can fill different roles. How have you expanded your game since last season?
I have definitely been able to shoot better. I've got my shot back, and my defense has gotten better over the summer, playing AAU and everything. So that's really it. I can still shoot my layups if I have to, shoot more, and just help out as much as I can.
Now, offensively, there's really no, limitations as far as the players, dribbling and shooting. If you have the skills, you're going to do it. Defensively, though, now that Asha's gone, do you have to find that you got to defend inside more? You got to play more like a post player, as the team might need that.
Yeah, since I am the tallest on the team, I have to guard the post, but that's something I'm used to because I've done it for almost my whole basketball career, so I'm fine with it.
Coach, do you still feel like you can put on top of the 1-3-1 zone even though your team's a little shorter?
Absolutely. And, she's played today, she was on the wing. She's played like you said, and these girls understand when we go through a practice, okay, hey, we do hypotheticals. Hey, Audrey's in foul trouble. She has to go here. You got to know all the spots. So today she played the top of the 1-3-1. She played the wing of the 1-3-1. She's played the bottom of the 1-3-1. She knows every spot. So I feel comfortable putting her anywhere that I need to.
All right, Essence, do you feel like there we go. Dang, I'm sorry. Jakari, but I made a reference to Essence earlier. That's why I made that mistake. Bad excuse, though. But how do you feel like your shot is now? Do you feel like your three-point shot's as good as it's been?
Yep, it has gotten a lot better. I've been working on my form, taking more shots. So I feel like I'm in a better rhythm, so I will be making way more shots this year.
Audrey, how about you? How do you feel about your outside shooting now?
It was good today, so I have faith that will be good during the season.
And I like to ask this question to seniors, but in your case, you don't have we'll talk about one of the seniors, but you don't have a lot of seniors on this team. So are both of you being more vocal than maybe you were last year?
Yes, more definitely.
Yes. Definitely.
Definitely, Audrey. Okay.
I concur with that.
All right. Well, Coach, I did this with you a couple years ago, and then last year when I talked to you, I forgot before the season, where I'm going to try to guess your starting lineup. Now, this could just be the starting lineup you would use in a scrimmage. You may not know who you're going to use against Southeast because that's still over a week from today. But if I had to guess, you can just give me a score. Jakari obviously would be one of your starters. Obviously, so would Audrey. I'm going to guess Hayden Harrell just because I liked watching her with the ball. She seemed like a really good ball handler, and so that'll be a guess there. Evie Mitchell started for you a lot last year when Skylar was hurt, so I'm going to guess that's another starter. And then to give you some more size, I'm going to guess, also liked her game, Kinley Sutton.
I mean,
out of 5, right? Give you a score.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens on Tuesday night.
Okay.
Kinley's been playing a lot. Has been a great. She takes some pressure off of Audrey at times, Coach's kid. You know, she knows what we want. And so, you know, Kinley, you got Kinley there, you got Malia there. Malia's been starting a little bit more, okay? But Kinley and Jordan Richardson and Jacqueline Brown have been kind of coming in and rotating. You know, it just depends on sometimes situational who might come in first off the bench.
Yeah. Well, but Hayden Harrell might still be a factor.
So, I mean, like I said, today's starters were you were off. It was Malia over Kinley.
Okay.
But you had the other 4.
Okay. Well, there's the thing about Hayden Harrell. Well, you have a few legacy players on your roster. Her brothers were great players for Carl Albert, for Coach Price. You have her listed at 5'3". If she's 5'3", she's grown. Because I could have sworn she had to be not much taller than 5 feet last year. Is that, or can you comment on that?
I don't know. Coach Banks does the heights, and so you know he's 6'11", so there's no telling what he put down.
From his perspective, maybe she might
absolutely.
Be 5'3". But is she someone who can be a? Well, we'll talk about Asia Poole in a second, but kind of like her in that when you had Asia, she had the ball in her hands a lot. Can you do that with Hayden? Because she seemed like you could just tell she had that ball handling gene.
Yes. You know. I mean, yes. You know, but, you know, we are positionless.
Right.
If we have a rule, whoever has the easiest way to get the ball up the court becomes our point guard. And then since we run a lot of 5-out anyway, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
And so Kari's brought it up, Audrey's brought it up, Malia's brought it up, Hayden, E has brought it up. So Jordan, I mean, like I said, we are positionless, so it really doesn't matter. But, yes, Hayden can handle the basketball.
And Evie, is she pretty healthy now?
Yes.
She missed her sophomore year with a knee injury.
She did. She's back full strength.
Very savvy player.
Very, very savvy. Definitely 4 years in the system. We really hadn't changed it. She definitely knows what we want.
And I was going to ask you about Jordan Richardson because that's the only freshman on the roster. I don't know how the freshman team looks, but obviously for her to be on the roster means she's doing some good things. She's 5'8". What type of game does she have?
Well, you know, Kari mentioned her early. You know, I think she's one of our better offensive rebounders. You know, she can go get it. She made a block today that was really stinking. I mean, the girls are laughing. Pretty stinking impressive. Good all-around player. You know, it's just like anything else. These two could tell you, coming from 8th grade to freshman, it's a change. Mm-hmm. And so there are growing pains at times. You know, she's going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but she's learning. She grinds, and so she's going to be a key contributor to us.
All right, ladies, Jakari, Audrey, same question for both of you. Some teammates who've impressed you then in practice that you're like, okay, this girl's better than what she was a few months ago.
Most definitely. Especially Jordan. She has just shown and improved multiple. Because I've played with her before, even when she was younger. The growth in her is just amazing.
My sister.
Yes.
Jackie Brown.
100%.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Jacqueline Brown, your big sister. Absolutely. How's she gotten better? I mean, I imagine you play against her a lot. And do you ever play against her a lot in the backyard, I assume?
Yes.
Or front yard? Is it backyard or front yard?
No, we usually go to a gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's she gotten better?
She's been knocking down shots.
Mm-hmm.
She's a great leader. She talks on the court. She's very loud. Great supporter.
Absolutely. So you know, kind of like what we brought up about Evie, four-year player in the program. She's over there yelling, ball away, drop. I mean, she's yelling everything that we're trying to get people on the court. She's, you know, when she's on the court, she's communicating. When she's on the bench, she's communicating. A great vocal leader. Kari hit it right on the head.
Well, and see, of course, when I look at your team, I'm going to think, how are they going to do against some of the taller teams, like, for example, when you play Del City, if you play Del City in the postseason.
No, they're in 2 of our tournaments, so you never know.
Yeah, that's right. So you got to go against Shelby Thornton. I'd imagine Jackie's someone who you could use in that situation.
Yes. In fact, we talked about today, and the girls, she has long length. And so today, when I was able to put her on the wing, I put Jackie on top of the 1-3-1, and she has, you know, length to cause some of those lob passes. And then we can, you know, she was on one wing, she was on the other, and they can anticipate, you know, and recover. And so that is also a blessing. And so definitely definitely going to be a good role player for us, no doubt.
All right, so let's go over again some of the legacy players, because I don't see this as much with any other team. So I already mentioned Hayden Harrell, whose older brothers played at Carl Albert and were really good on the boys' side. And then, of course, we didn't talk about Piper Mitchell, but that's Evie's sister.
Absolutely.
So we got 2 sisters there. We already mentioned the Browns, Jackie and Jakari Brown. Malia Hatch, I think everyone should know who her dad is. Lenny Hatch, the head coach at Dale City Boys. And then Kenley Sutton is Cameron's younger sister. And then one of your managers, Cameron Kofer, I imagine, is that Kennedy's
and then
sister?
Kari and Jacqueline's sister, Kayla.
Kayla Brown is there. Okay, so 3 sisters there. So that's a lot of family there. That has to be pretty cool.
It is. I mean, there's no doubt. And, you know, we do Titans on 3, family on 6. But we are a family. But like you said, there is true family.
Yes, and then what's interesting is Asia Poole, only 2 years removed from the program. So usually you got to go, you got to wait 4 years or wait 4 years of college or whatever. But she comes to you after only 2 years. And I can't imagine, because unlike, I know you've had some other former players coach with you, but this girl was with you, though, for all 4 years. So I bet you have to be real excited about having her back.
Absolutely. It is funny sometimes. Coach Banks and I will be over there, and she's saying stuff, and you got to go, man, there's no doubt she's been with us for 4 years. Where she is so good. Obviously, she played at the next level. She can communicate with these girls. She knows what I want, so she can take them off like, hey, you know this is what he's looking for. Obviously, she's younger. She could get in there, can mix it up with them. She's been running some of our defensive drills lately. Hey, go for it. I mean, she was a 2-time defensive player of the year in our conference when she played, so she knows what she's talking about, and that's the trust I have in both of I have 2 of the best assistants in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, I'll step back and go, hey, you're on Coach Banks right now. Hey, you're on Coach Asia right now, and that makes my job so much easier.
I imagine you're comfortable with only 2, because usually you've had more in the past.
Right. It's just what we have this year.
Yeah. Jakari, Audrey, have you both played against Asia?
Not yet, but we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Yes. I imagine Evie has, because she, I guess, would have been a freshman when Asia was a senior.
Yes.
So that's
and Jack brought when Jacqueline, we were talking to media the other day. That's where both of those kind of brought that up to her.
Yeah. All right, let's show the schedule. This may be hard to read, but there it is, and I'm sure you can find it on different websites. Coach, same tournaments. You have your own, of course, and then the same ones as last year?
Well, no, we got out of the Bertha Teague.
Okay.
We won it. We did get an invite back. I'd actually talked to the girls. We just didn't want to play the day after Christmas. And that was pretty much as simple as that. Obviously, it's a prestigious tournament. We had gone 2 years in a row. So we're going to go to Bartlesville this year. They held our spot for us. And so we'll go to Duncan.
Have you been there in the past?
When Evie and Jack were freshmen. So 3 years,
Okay, and so that's the difference in tournaments.
That's it.
Difference, and now you get to add a couple of non-district opponents. I think Crossings, is that may be the one.
Right, they're out. Got to go to Guyman this year. We drew them the Friday of Christmas break, so honestly I couldn't have picked a better day to go there. Noble's in it this year.
Noble's in your district, yeah.
They are in our district this year.
But you play Crossings, right? It's not
one game just as a non-district. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, all right. And then, yes, I was going to bring up that district. The names that are interesting are, first of all, it's kind of weird that you're not district with Guthrie because they're always like in your district.
They got St. East this year.
They got St. East. So did Shawnee. But you get Laud MacArthur. And, I know they had a lot of talent. They should have a lot of returning talent. And then Elgin. I know they had some good wins last year. So how do you look at, and then El Reno is defending champs. I know they had some seniors, but of course they'll replace them pretty well.
Yes.
So how do you view your district?
Loaded. I mean, like I said, El Reno, Mac, Guthrie. We played them 2 years ago when they were. Remember, because it was a suburban conference back then. Last year was the first year of district, so that's kind of renewing an old rivalry. Like I said, making that jaunt to Guyman.
You mean Noble's the renewal?
Yes,
right?
Noble is. And then Elgin, who was in our district last year. You know, we got him here, and then we were in just that barn burner last year there, got him by 3, I think. And then, you know, we have Southeast, that's who we opened up with, and then Santa Fe South. So there's no give me on the schedules, tournaments or games. So, and then we drew the one game at Del City over Christmas break to kind of break up our
oh, yeah, that's right. That's the other
you know, we're going to play at Del City against Seminole.
Yes, we'll hope to have that game on. All right, ladies, any opponents you're looking forward to?
El Reno.
Yeah, I can't wait for a rematch.
They did beat you twice. I know Skylar was not there for one of them, but still, that was yeah. They're obviously really good. So get to play them twice again. I know. I think one of them will be senior night. I think.
I didn't even look.
That may be Elgin. I got those are the last 2 games. Elgin and El Reno in some order. They're both at home for you. All right. Well, Coach, ladies, thank you very much. We look forward to following your team. And yes, for Carl Albert girls, we do hope to have their game on December 27th at Del City, or 28th, Saturday 28th, I think.
Okay.
When they play
Seminole at 2 o'clock.
2 p.m. And then other games, of course, you got their tournament. And when they play Lawton MacArthur and Elgin, look for those games to be on the Oklahoma Sports Network. That's one more interesting thing is, I don't know if this is football related, but there's that one weird stretch in January where you got to go to Lawton Mac on a Thursday and Elgin on a Friday.
Yes, and basically, just if you notice, the Thursday game next week, we moved it because of the state semifinals. It was supposed to be on Friday. We moved it to Thursday.
And then, on the 5th,
and then, you know, just trying to figure out Lawton Mac's schedule. We just figured neither one of us had a middle school game on that night. It's a Thursday. It is awkward, but that's kind of what's fit into the schedule.
All right. Well,
so, yes, that's 2 back-to-back long trips.
We hope to have both games on the Oklahoma Sports Network, though. All right, more Carl Albert coming up right here on the Mid-Dale Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Contest the new Whataburger from Whataburger. What? Real wings have bones. And these boneless wings are actually premium chicken tender bites tossed in one of Whataburger's famous sauces. Honey butter, honey barbecue, buffalo, or
sweet and spicy.
And now Nashville hot? Those do not turn these Whataburgers into real wings. I know what a real wing is. That snow.
Whataburger.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.
All right, welcome back to the Mid-Dale Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network, right here at the Bricktown Brewery in Midwest City, also brought to you by Tooney Buys Houses. And now we get to talk Carl Albert boys basketball with their coach, Jay Price. Okay, so, Coach, guys have made unbelievable streak, 14 straight state titles. Is that
state
correct?
Tournaments, yeah. I wish it was titles.
It's not state titles, state tournaments, yeah. You get in the top 8 there, but that's always an accomplishment. It's never something you want to take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I imagine some of those years you've had you've had a very new team replacing the old one, and to keep the streak going, you had a team that may have been very inexperienced at the beginning of the year. One year that comes to mind was after you won the state title in 2021.
Yeah,
that was a pretty inexperienced group the next year, but you guys were able to make it back to state, led by Jordan England. So as far as this year's team goes, is this one of your more of your bigger rebuilding jobs? How would you describe that?
Well, you know, a lot of people use the term rebuilding. And I guess that's kind of, I can understand the aspect behind somebody saying that. For us, it's just a continuation. These guys, especially these two that are here tonight, they've been in the program, their whole careers. One of them's a junior, one of them's a senior. They've been here the whole time, so they know the expectations. They know what our goals are every single year, and so the way we look at it, there's some different things we'll have to do because of the players that graduated. But as far as our expectations, they're still the same. And so we'll make whatever tweaks we need to offensively, defensively. And, the reality is that some years you have less experienced players, when you start the season than you do other years. And that's the dynamic that you have to work with in trying to get them prepared for a state tournament and play at that level. So for us, that's our case this year. We don't have as much experience coming back. But the great thing about it is you get to gain some of that experience early on. We're going to have some district games, and then we're going to play 2 tournaments back-to-back that won't matter at all in relationship to district standings. And it gives you a chance to really let those guys kind of grow a little bit and figure out some things and get prepared for the January, February run that, kind of determines who's going to be hosting and all that good stuff.
So, again, pretty new team, though, but you've had a chance to work with them since June, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, how did Summer League look? I always enjoyed seeing that when I was assistant coach.
Yeah.
But how did it look like with the new group?
It was great. It was fantastic. We had a great time with these guys. They really played well together. Played extremely hard. Just a very solid team effort, and that's something that's going to be a big piece of who we are, a big identity of who we are is how well we're going to be able to play together as a team on both ends of the floor, offensively, defensively. And we saw that this summer and really enjoyed it. And they grew up a lot this summer, and it was something good coming off of our last set of games that we were at UCO's team camp. Being able to look forward to the fall and October, and then, of course, getting ready for scrimmages and games and all that good stuff. We were really encouraged, by what we saw in the summer. And so, we're hoping to springboard off of that and just continue that through the season.
Now, you're still kind of waiting on some, and we'll go back to this, but some players from football, you told me.
Yeah.
So I imagine that one of them would be, I lost his name there for a second, well, LeBron Royal.
Yeah.
Is he one?
LeBron's coming.
Elijah Matthews.
Yes.
And anyone else?
Austin Johnson.
Okay.
And Darian Thomas. Those are the main 4 that played with us in the summer for the most part. So, we're kind of expecting them to kind of be at a high level varsity-wise and come in and be able to play and make an impact pretty quickly. There's a couple other kids that are also going to be helpful as they come along and grow a little bit. But for the most part, those are the 4 that played during the summer and that we've kind of looked at as, high-level varsity guys for us.
Okay, so is Marcus James a possibility, or do you feel like he's going to move on?
Yeah, everything I'm hearing, he's going early to OU.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't actually enroll until like the middle of January, so they're kind of dangling that out there that there's a possibility he might play up until that point, but I don't know. Yeah. We really enjoyed having him last year. He was a big addition to our team, but I also know that he has some big goals ahead of him, and I wouldn't fault him for not playing with his the status he's at with Oklahoma and the things that he's got going on there with football. So it's a wait and see on that, but we don't have any expectations for him right now. But if he wanted to, we'd certainly welcome him.
Okay, so this is going to be a tough one here, but I played this game with you in the past. It's guess your starting lineup, like maybe someone against like who you're using in scrimmages. That's how I would put it here.
All right.
But I'm looking at the players that were on your roster last year that you sent me that are back.
Okay.
So there's only Adrian Randall, Brandon Rogers, Xavier Garcia, Rex Reynolds, and it'll be those 5.
Jordan Hawkins would be the other one.
Okay, in place of Adrian?
No, Adrian's in there.
Okay. Jordan Hawkins. So who?
Jordan, Adrian, Rex, Brandon, Xavier.
Okay.
Those are the 5 that have been starting for us throughout the scrimmage season, and they'll start for us on Tuesday night against Southeast.
So tell us about Jordan Hawkins then.
So Jordan has been in our program. He's a junior now.
Okay.
He's a baseball player as well. And for the most part during the summer, he spends a lot of his time in baseball. He's hoping to have a really good year for them on the baseball field as well. But really good athlete, shoots the ball pretty well, gets along with the guys, fits in really well with them. He was mostly a JV player for us last year, but he's really come around. And, some of these guys that are these veteran guys have really brought him along and, kind of showed him here's how we do things at the varsity level and all that kind of thing. And so he's done a great job of responding to that, and I think he's going to be a good player for us.
And how tall is he?
He's probably 6'2", 6'3", maybe.
All right, let's talk to these two players. One of them, I believe, is Brandon.
Yeah, this is Brandon Rogers and Xavier Garcia.
Okay, guys, welcome. So, Brandon, I want to start with you. I've never been more surprised by a player just rising to the occasion, at least not in recent memory, than what I saw from you when you guys beat Crossings, because you were contributing on offense and spending a ton of energy on defense guarding Furnish, or whatever his last name is, and he's obviously a really good player. What did that game do for you? Did that game really boost you confidence-wise, or were you always confident?
Yeah, that was a big change because it gave me lots of confidence. I didn't play as much all the games before that, and yeah, it really just gave me a lot of motivation and confidence throughout the rest of the season.
What type of player can we expect from you this year? Because you started to play more at the end of the season, and I think Coach, he liked using in crunch time, if I remember correctly, in some of those close games. But now you're going to have an expanded role, as will everyone else. But what type of player will you be this year, you think?
I feel like I'll guard most of the time one of the best players, probably. And then just me and Adrian Randall getting the offense and everybody else in control. Make sure everyone's on order.
And I was always struck by your jump shot because your feet were farther apart than most players when they shoot. Is that still your thing, or have you?
Nah, I got that fixed up a little bit over the summer. I got it a lot closer now.
Coach, did you want him to fix that, or were you okay with how he shot?
As long as they're going in, I don't care if his feet are pointing backwards, But no, he's done a good job of working on some of those things just to improve himself. And yeah, as you mentioned, he was a solid player for us late in the season last year. Really came along well.
All right, Xavier, I imagine you have to kind of be excited that you had from last year's team some seniors and even some non-seniors that aren't coming back.
Yeah.
And now that means that there's going to be a lot put on your shoulders. Was that something that excited you when you realized that hey, you're going to have an opportunity to really shine?
Yeah, big time. And just they showed me the way, how to be a leader and stuff. So I'm going to just carry all of that over this year.
And what type of player do you think you'll be for the team?
Just a leader and really just an all-around player. Yeah.
But do you feel like you'll handle the ball more? You'll be making more decisions with the ball?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel like you've done in scrimmages?
There's some improvement to be done. But for scrimmages, yeah, I would say I've done pretty good.
All right, Brandon, how do you feel about it?
Pretty good too. Yeah.
Well, Coach, imagine since you're waiting on these football players, scrimmages have been probably a little bit more challenging than maybe what Summer League was.
Yeah. So, and even on top of that, even our younger players, a lot of them are in football, so we don't have very many kids in the gym to be able to even compete against. And so we spent a lot of October really working on a lot of 2-on-2, 3-on-3 stuff. Got a little bit of 4-on-4 work. Every now and then we do some 5-on-5 stuff, but we really were looking forward to the scrimmages for that to be a kind of a place where we can kind of get see where we're at. A ruler, so to speak, a measuring stick to see, what have we done? How have we improved? What are things we need to work on? And so that's been a challenge. Typically when we get our football guys, it always adds to our practices because you're bringing in some kids. But I've rarely had this many coming in from football to where we can't really compete as much as we would like in practice that we've done. So the scrimmages have been very vital for us, and we've seen a lot of improvement. We've had 5 right now, and we've got one more coming up on Saturday. and that'll finish us up until we play Tuesday night. But I've seen a lot of improvement, a lot of growth on just how to handle game situations. And, I've told these guys, and they realize it. And, these two right here played some varsity minutes for us last year, and that's why I brought them tonight. The rest of the guys really played very little varsity minutes. So it's a lot of new guys, a lot of inexperienced guys, but what we've gained through this scrimmage season is trying to make it as much of a game-like situation as we can. And I've been really pleased with how they've handled it. Now, I've done it a lot of years, and I know Tuesday night's going to be different. When you step on the floor for the first time in a varsity game,
right,
and it's a real deal, it's different. But I think they'll handle it once they get by the nerves and all that. We'll be fine. And, just seeing a lot of really good improvement as far as not just basketball-wise, but just our team chemistry and how we play together has been really fun to watch.
So Adrian Randall, he's listed as only 5 feet tall. Is he – is that pushing it?
No.
Or maybe
he might be a little over 5 foot. He's not a whole lot. But
is he is he a good ball handler? Is that his strength then?
He is. He's a good ball handler. He's a good vocal leader. He's very, very aggressive as far as just his effort. He plays at a high level. He's going to be mainly the one that will get us into our offense. Brandon mentioned earlier that he'll be handling it some. We probably will lean on Xavier some as well and kind of be depend on what the matchups are and things like that. But he's done a good job of that. Adrian has so far handling it and kind of getting us into our offense and things like that. So we're going to rely on that from him. And he's handling the role, And when those footballers get in, we may get a little help at that position with Elijah Matthews. He's a pretty good little ball handler, and so, but that's yet to be determined how all that fits together. But Adrian's been running the show for us somewhat.
And is Rex Reynolds, is he like a younger right-handed version of his brother as far as shooting, or?
Rex is a really good shooter. He's a really good shooter. Some of the things I think he's maybe improved on that Ryan was late in improving on is just attacking the basket and being aggressive, getting to the rim. And so I think Rex realizes that's got to be a part of his game to be really successful. You don't want to be one-dimensional. And, in asking these guys, what's your role going to be and how, that kind of thing. When you watch us play, it's going to look like a bunch of guys out there all trying to help each other out and score. And there's not going to be a dominant player necessarily. I think I've got, several guys that are capable of putting 20 points up in a night, but there's, what we've built so far and what they've bought into is teamwork and making the extra pass and getting a shot for the next guy. And I think that's what's going to make us really tough.
All right. Question for both of you, Brandon, Xavier. Who are some teammates? I mean, you haven't had a lot of players out there, but who are some teammates that have impressed you as far as how they've gotten better in the last few months that you've seen in the preseason so far?
I would say Jordan Hawkins. Yeah, he's for his first year of varsity. He's that guy, so he can get all of it done.
Okay, Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say Jordan Hawkins too. He's proved a lot, especially since last year and stuff. He's gotten more aggressive and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach, so we've been talking about football. You're used to obviously Crawford making deep runs in football, but now we got something a little different here. So you have more players, you said, than normal that you have in football. By the way, have any freshmen been able to come to you from football?
They've been coming off and on. Mostly the last couple of weeks, a little bit more. Now that they're in the playoffs, they've been coming to practice some.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some things that I would be very frustrated with this, and I'm going to say it. I don't like it that for the 5A football playoffs, like 4A, it's now 4 games in 5 weeks instead of 4 games in 4 weeks. They're extending it out, and obviously that you figure Crawford will be part of the equation here. So you're talking also district play. That's something that's only new from that you only had last year. So these early games probably matter more than they normally do. Against, I guess you got Southeast and Noble at home. Is that your first two?
Santa Fe
South.
Yeah.
That's before the semifinals. That's usually unheard of.
Right.
And so you have to deal with this strange change from football. And in a time when those games are going to count in the standings, probably more than they would if it was simply rankings like they used in the past. So what's your reaction when that'd be a little frustrating?
Yeah, not happy with that at all. When I heard that, I was talking to Coach Dunn, and he said, "Hey, have you heard about the football deal season?" I was like, "No, not necessarily." He goes, "Well, let me tell you." And I was like, you're kidding me. So not only am I going to have, 4 of my top 8 guys in football, they're going to be in there for most possibly an extra week, longer than they have been ever before. And it's put us in a bind, just numbers-wise, for one thing, just having enough guys in practice to get some competition. But the thing that we've focused on, I mean, you're right. We're gonna play 2 district games without them completely.
Yeah.
If they make it to the finals, then we'll play a district. We'll get them on. I
think you have like a week off or something.
Well, we have a week off, yeah, and then we would get them to play on a game on Tuesday after they played their football game on Saturday if they made it to the finals. So those are going to be 2 away games that week. But here's the deal: we've known it since way back in October, and so I've been telling these guys, we've been talking to these guys about it, that hey, this is what we're going to have. What you got in the gym right now is what we're going to have for a couple of games, and these are district games. We can't afford to lose a district game.
Yeah. And
so they know what's at stake, and I think they'll do. I think they'll step up and do a good job next week, and we're just going to get better once these guys. It really, I think in the long run, it's probably going to be an advantage for us that these guys have been the group that we've had during the preseason, because they've got so many reps and so much work and scrimmages and practice and all of that come later in the year when we've got 7 or 8 guys that can all do that, it's going to be a situation where we're going to be really deep and have a chance to do some things that we hope to do, and get back to the state tournament. I don't know where we are right now in that goal. I mean, the goal is there. I don't know where we are, as far as how we stack up with the rest of the state right now. But these guys have got a lot out of the preseason, and I think that's going to be to our advantage when those football guys come along and we start meshing everything together. But that whole week, that extra week it's going to be, if they make it to the finals, obviously it's going to be a tough deal for us.
Yeah, well, they'll have their toughest game in the semifinals probably.
Yeah, that could be.
Well, let's look at the schedule again. Same schedule as for the girls, because they basically say, I know it's hard to read there, but I take it you moved Santa Fe South to a Thursday for the semifinals.
Yes.
So
Yes.
people will go watch that game at PC North. Let's go and keep it on a little bit longer here. Crossings is no longer in your district. That's kind of good news, but you're still playing them, so that's one of the games you added to your schedule.
Yeah.
And then the same tournaments, I believe, Mustang and Bartlesville first.
Correct.
And you will have your tournament again.
We'll have the Titan Classic. Yeah, we're short one boys team. We had it full, and then one of them had to pull out because they'd already had a scheduled tournament. But we've got 7 right now. We're looking for one to fill it completely, but we are going to have both sides of it, boys and girls. They've got a really good set of teams right now, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Any chance you could say who the other 6 are? Like Norman? Is Norman back?
Let's see. We got Norman North, Edmond North.
Norman North.
Yeah.
Edmond, oh, my God. You're getting some big guns.
Yeah, those 3. We got Collinsville coming. We have Sand Springs coming. We have Ada coming, and then us. That's the 7 that we've got right now. So pretty solid field.
I don't know. You know more about it than I would. I think that's probably as good as we've seen as far as 6-8 teams, at least from what I've seen in the last
recent years.
Recent years, yeah.
We've had a few years where all 8 teams at the time when it was rankings, all 8 teams were ranked in the top 10, and 7 of the 8 teams were in the finals or semifinals of their class the previous year.
Okay.
And so this is getting back to that a little bit. We've always wanted to do that in our tournament because it's the last opportunity you have until you hit the final stretch and get ready for playoffs to play that kind of competition, and we've always loved having a tough tournament. So yeah, it's going to be a good one this year for sure.
Last scheduling question. Well, I forgot to ask Coach Ritchie this, but I'll ask you a second here. But back to the schedule. So you do have an interesting stretch in January where we go to Elgin or Lawton MacArthur on a Thursday, Elgin on a Friday.
Yeah.
Was that kind of because you had to push a game back?
Yes, absolutely. So in the draw, when we drew the district game, we had MacArthur early in December and talked to Marco about it, and he said, hey, I may not have my football kids. I said, well, I may not have mine either, so how about if we push it later on so we can actually play the type of game that we need to play? And he was agreeable to that, and so we bumped it and moved it to that spot. So we also had El Reno, like the second game of the season, but they were in a tournament that weekend, so they didn't get to play. So we bumped them later on as well. So
and they still have Carter Romanos, don't they?
Yeah.
He may never leave.
Yeah, I know. I think he's 25 right now. He's been there so long. But, those are 2 of the better teams in our district. And then, of course, like you said, we picked up Crossings to play them later on, which I love playing them. I mean, they're solid. They're going to make you play the best you can play to be in the game, and we've had some good games with them, and so we'll look forward to that. But we got a lot of work to do to get to that point, and we're excited about next week and getting it started off, and hopefully we can figure out a way to get a win on Tuesday night.
Southeast is your first opponent. That'll be another good team.
Yeah,
that in your district that's new.
Yes.
All right, guys. Who is a team you're looking forward to playing, or a couple teams you're looking forward to playing, or a tournament or something?
I would say El Reno Crossings. Out of those two.
Well, I mean, you did sweep El Reno, but they were tough games. Yeah. Crossings, they got you 2 out of 3. So, and I'm looking forward to having. I think we'll try to both your Lott and MacArthur games.
Yeah.
So that'll be another good opponent.
Mac will be good. Yeah, especially down there. It's always tough to play down there.
Well, I don't know if I don't know when the last time you played there was. It's probably been a few years. So
and it's been a while.
It'll be good to have that game on. All right, and then I forgot to ask Coach Ritchie, but what do you think about? And hopefully you'll be there. The state tournament down in the Big House.
I think it's awesome. I love it.
Have you ever coached there before?
I have not. I've never coached a game in there, and we've always we've watched a bunch. And some of the years where if we made it, we got knocked out early. We'd go down the next day and watch some games, or if we were just interested, we'd go watch some. And it's a really neat deal, especially for it being the last year that they're going to have it. And I'm excited that they did that. I hopefully we'll be in that position where we get to play down there. We'd love to do that because it's a really neat atmosphere, and I think it'd be great memories for these kids to have to be able to play down there. And
it should be a new gym, though, I believe, right? I think it's a new gym they're going to have ready to go.
No, this is the last year of the old.
Okay, it'll be next year.
Yeah, the next year they're going to have the new one. This is the very last year that they're going to have the big house, and so then they switch it up. So there's some talk that they may continue to keep it there. And just do all the classes there every year, which I think would be really cool to do. Keep everybody at one site if we can figure that out, but that's still yet to be determined.
All right, guys. What were some important things for you guys for your first game Southeast? What's some important things for you guys to play shorthanded?
I'd just say try to put the game away kind of early, so then we can just cruise from there. For sure.
Yeah, off of what Brennan said, really just get the work done early and really just get the job done.
All right. Well,
stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, for those 2 games for sure. All right, so Carl Albert's first couple of games will be next week, Tuesday and Thursday. They're hosting Southeast and Santa Fe South. Some games we hope to get on the Oklahoma Sports Network will be their games against Lott, MacArthur, and Elgin, maybe that last El Reno game. And definitely the Carl Albert Titan Classic, so especially with those matchups that are looming. So that's some stuff you can watch on the Oklahoma Sports Network, and we look forward to watching them when they're at full strength. All right, guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, we appreciate you coming by. All right, we're still not done. We're going to finally talk Carl Albert football right after this.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and ask yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light, and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it? Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes,
call Rob and Will.
All right, welcome back to the Midday Coach Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Our final segment of the night, we will talk Carl Albert football. So Mike Dunn, the head coach, I talked to him earlier today. He reached a very significant milestone in his coaching career on Friday when Carl Albert beat Claremore to get to the semifinals. We'll talk about that as well and about his upcoming matchup with Dell City, which will be, as I had trouble with the math, 10 days from now. Here's the interview. All right, Coach Dunn, let's start with the end of the game here for once. As we look back at your victory against Claremore, you were recognized for your 75th career head coaching victory, and you got recognized while you were wearing a turkey hat, so it was quite a visual, I just got to say. But apparently you did not know you were going to get recognized. Is that correct?
No, I didn't know. I guess my wife had counted that up or looked that up. I don't know. I don't know if I had said something. I think the year before we were at the All-State football games, and at 75 wins, I know coaches get a plaque from the Oklahoma Football Coaches Association. And so I think she asked me about one of those plaques or what the coaches were getting, and I told her. And so I think she took that and kind of ran with it and knew how many I needed, I guess. But no, I wasn't. I had no clue that was happening. So that was pretty cool. You know, obviously, when you've had a chance to get to that, it's because of a lot of really good people around you and really good players, and which I've had both. A lot of support at Del City, a lot of support here at Carl Albert. Been lucky to have.
Yeah, so the other thing about that, first of all, the turkey hat looked really good on you. But the other thing that was interesting is when Coach Goff was interviewing you, you got a little emotional looking at Caden Davis, kind of soaking in his last game as a player. And I know I've asked you about Caden a lot to love about him. But Coach Goff was in the middle of asking you about what made Claremore a challenging opponent, and so that we couldn't get that question through because you had a great moment there about Caden.
Right.
What can you say about some of the challenges you had against Claremore?
Well, Claremore is a very physical football team, and you could see it on film very easily once you watched it closer that everybody they played, they gave problems. They were good up front on both sides of the ball. They had good schemes on both sides of the ball, you know, so we knew it would be probably the biggest challenge we faced in the entire season. And so, which, you know, it came out and it kind of played like that. You know, I was their quarterback, I think, was as good of a quarterback as we've played all year. He was very balanced, got the ball out on time, and he's deceptively fast. And so he made some drives extend and did a good job with his feet. And you know, another thing that I have to give those guys credit for, when we were up 21 to nothing at half, you know, coming out at half, we told our kids, we're going to see exactly how they feel about this game. What I would do is I would onside here, and I would try to go throw a punch. And so we told our kids, better be ready. They're going to try to get the ball back. They're going to try to get back in this thing. And they come out, they onside, they get it back, and then they throw a double pass to start the second half. And so, you know, to credit to them, they came out and fought their tails off too and punched us in the mouth and scored. You know, and that's the first time we've been scored on in an opening drive of either half all year long. And so they score, and you know, they kick one and we get it and we return it for a touchdown. So again, all year long I've talked about when we've had adversity or things negatively happen, we've come right back and we've responded properly. And so we did that again the other night. But, you know, credit to Claremore and Coach Hurt. They did a great job.
Yeah, and one of the things they did, they stopped you on 4th and short, which I don't know if that's happened to you this year. And then, they ended up scoring 14. That's actually the most points you've given up, which says a lot about the type of season you've had.
Right. Yeah. And that the second score, you know, was late in the game, and
yeah,
the first one was a punch in the mouth, you know, and they pulled out all the stops on that drive and went out and battled. You know, it was 20 at that point. It's a 14-point game in the second half. We had anything close to that in any of our games, really, you know, and so that's again something that you need, something that we need to have and have happen before you go playing games like this next one.
So going back earlier in the game, Tristan Haynes got open for a touchdown pass, and the thing about that was, I believe, on 3rd and long, and he had a similar play in the first half against Midwest City, and so I'm there for both, and I'm wondering myself, how does the defense allow Tristan to get open? But I'm going to flip that question and say, what is Coach Johnson and your guys doing well to get Tristan open on what's an obvious pass situation? So the defense should know a pass is coming. So what's going well on that side?
Yeah, well, I think it has more to do with, if you're the defensive coordinator on the other side, I guess you can try to take away Tristan, but you take him away and you've got Trinae Washington. that you're going to have to worry about. You've got Byron Stubbs, you've got Christian Oku, you've got Todd James, Marcus James, Maddox Wilkerson. I mean, you just go down the line. We've got 9 receivers that have touchdowns this year. Jackson Webster, a sophomore kid that doesn't get talked about enough, and so it's almost like, when we played Guthrie, they looked at it, and Guthrie will play other people, and they'll go man up the best receiver, and then they're going to put somebody over the top of him, or they're going to bracket him, or they'll try to trap him. But with us, they haven't done that because who do you choose to do that to? Because we've got a couple other guys that are just as dangerous in their own rights. So I think it says more about our personnel as a whole. We've got a running back, 2 of them that come out of the backfield and have been really dangerous in the pass game as well, that both have touchdowns in the pass game. So it's I think it's more about a pick your poison. But our offensive coordinator and our wide receiver coaches, they get together every weekend and they do a great job of scheming people up and scheming up stuff that works, week in, week out. And, I've always said this, but Coach Johnson is the best I've ever been around about when he calls his plays and how he sets things up. So, I would say it has more to do with the personnel he has to play with, just like I've always given credit to, 75 wins doesn't have a whole lot to do with me. It has more to do with the players out there on the field and the coaches around me.
And what I like about watching you guys play is because you're so used to blowing out teams, but you take the end of the first half very seriously as a way to kind of practice and prep for that maybe next potential close game you might have.
Right.
So you did that in this game, and you came up just short from scoring. You had first, or I don't know what the down was, but you had it inside the 10 with about 6 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you run a play, and Devin, I don't know if he had time to go out of bounds maybe and give you time to kick a field goal, but he decided to throw it across his body, treating it like it was going to be the last play of the half. What was was that a breakdown in any way as far as maybe the clock in the head of Devin, or how would you see that play?
Yeah, well, we personnel, we made a call, and what I should have done is I should have called a timeout because we had a timeout, and all you're going to do there is take a shot at the end zone. But if I call a timeout, maybe we get our personnel right. We can talk that situation through a quarterback who, Devin has still only played 1 season of varsity football, as a whole. And so he hasn't had a lot of chances to run that situation in a live game. And so I should have called a timeout, got our kids over there, talked to him about the situation and said, hey, now you got to have that clock in your head. We've got 6 seconds. We've got 1 shot. If it's not there, throw it through the back of the end zone. We'll bring Spiewak out and we'll kick a field goal. So, I take full blame on that one. That was on me. I should have called a timeout. But again, we got to work it, and it's something that we can show on film. It's something we can be better at for the next go around.
And yeah, that's why I bring it up. It's a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
Just like the next play was, which was the onside kick recovery. I'm just imagining what Coach Farley will do with that, but
right.
But they'll have a chance to work on that. But then to come back to the next play on special teams, you already mentioned the touchdown return. I believe it was Todd James
who
got it. So that at that point, you guys were expecting a deep onside, or what was the sequence like there?
Well, they had done a good job this year of putting the ball all over the place. And so we had worked all throughout the week that it could come to you, it could come to you, it could come to you. We had worked it a number of different ways. And so we were prepared for that ball to be spit out to just about any of the back guys. And so we were prepared for it. We were ready for it. And our kids went and executed. And our front line did a great job of sitting in there and hanging tight and making sure the ball was kicked, because they very well could have had other things up their sleeve and could have continued to kick onsides and stay in the game that way. But, they chose to kick it deep. And our return team is it's a weapon. We've got some really good ones back there, and there's not really one you can't kick it to. And so when we do get a chance, we like our odds to go make something big happen. And Todd just happened to be the guy, and it opened up for him, and one cut, and he was gone. It was exactly how we like to draw it up.
And then in the second half, what can you say about the tough catch that Trene made? Because I mean, and you kind of expect that, right? You're not surprised by that anymore, are you, when he makes that play?
No. We get to see Trene. People see it on Friday nights, what he does and some of the plays that he makes. But I mean, it's pretty phenomenal watching him in practice. Some of the things that he can do, and I always say if the ball's close, Trinae's going to come down with it, whether it's with one hand or, if he has to go down on the ground to to make a catch or whatever the situation. He's got unbelievable hands. He's probably the best. 20 years coaching high school ball. He's probably the best I've coached or I've had a part of in a team that is. He just the ball is with his hands. He's probably the most natural ball catcher I've ever seen at the high school level.
And their defense, when they were playing well, which was most of the game, it was a good team effort. In other words, for me, no one player stood out for me. But was there a couple players that you thought were really outstanding, particularly in that effort?
Yeah, well, it was a great team effort. Our defensive line has played lights out all year long. Any four of those guys could have been a player of a game for us, and they're the ones that keep those linebackers clean all the time, and they do a great job of reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and they play very active. All four of them had tackles for a loss. Thomas Welch came in and played some defensive line for us, made a great play on our goal line look on a fourth down stop. Maddox Wilkerson did a great job rotating in and out of there. And then, our three linebackers played really good football. And then our DBs our DBs play lights out always. But we went with the player of the week was Caden Davis. He had 20 tackles, and you do that in the second round of the playoffs. You have 20 tackles, 2 sacks, and I think he had 4 TFLs. Just it's kind of a typical Caden Davis game at this point, especially if he gets to play the whole game. I mean, he played every bit except for maybe the last 2 drives defensively. So he had a chance to go out and put those numbers up. But the entire defense played lights out.
And Caden Davis had a touchdown as well. So
he did. Yep.
Typical Caden Davis game.
He's a Swiss Army knife. Yep. He can do it all.
Okay, so playing Del City, so many things to ask about with the Eagles. First off, what's it like seeing the legacy that, and I've asked you this last year, but the legacy you helped prepare or you helped put in place for, I think you were there for four seasons, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And so what's it like to see them just continue to take off and play well, knowing that you had a hand in it, bringing Coach Jones with you to Del City and seeing how he's really thrived as a head coach?
Yeah, well, just really proud of him personally and everything that he's accomplished since he's taken it over, and obviously proud of those kids. This group of seniors, they were 8th graders when I was last there, and I know we were way excited about those guys and excited about them getting to high school. They were undefeated all through middle school, and had good coaches around them and a good support cast, great parents, good families, and so I know we were real excited about it. And I know Coach Jones has enjoyed having that group of kids go through there, and it's a really talented bunch of kids, but good kids as well. And so I'm obviously very proud of what they've done. When I left there, I talked to Miss Hill, and I told Miss Hill that Del City's their best days were still ahead, and I firmly believe that whenever I decided to move, and it's shown. I knew what Coach Jones could do and what the staff could do, and I knew that it was built to last at that point, and the foundation had been laid. And going down to 5A, it was all the right momentum for something special to happen, and that's what's happened, and that's where they're at right now. And it's a really good ball club. It's a disciplined ball team. It's a team that does things right with great character, and there's nothing bad that you can say about Del City if you're an outsider. There's nothing you can say that's going to be true if it's negative. It's nothing but positive, and really good kids, really good people, good coaches, and so it'll be a heck of a ball game like it is always.
So with Del City, and in some ways, you look at their game against McGuinness, and they may have more weapons than they did last year, and they may be, and that's hard to believe because they were so good last year. What do you? Is this the fastest team you played against? What are some of the challenges you see against them?
Yeah, they're a lot like us. I mean, kind of a spitting image is what I feel. They talent everywhere, just like we are. Like I talked earlier about Tristan, it's you could try to take away one and them, but you're going to leave someone open and so you just kind of got to pick and choose your battles there and play the cat and mouse of it. But just a really good, solid ball club. Athletes everywhere, speed everywhere. Defensively, they're physical, they're tough, they're sound. They don't do things to hurt themselves. And a lot of times you watch teams and as coaches, you can see you're like, why are they doing that right there? That's not sound. That's not smart. With Dell City, there is none of that. You don't see things that you say automatically, oh, that's a weakness. You don't see any of that. And so I really feel like it's like a lot like looking at us. We don't have a whole lot of weak points, and it's just going to be a good old fashioned, 4-quarter football game like it's meant to be played.
What do you think about having 2 weeks to prepare? This is new for the OSAA for 5A. I think they've done it for 6A in the past, but that was when they had less teams in the playoffs. So they're extending out the championship game a week later than they normally do. And for me, I feel a little bad for the basketball coaches that are affected by it. But for you guys, on the one hand, you got Dell City. They got you may not be totally sure what quarterback you see because they're waiting on one to get healthy, but they have another freshman that's a little different, but also very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also showed something when they had a fake punt against McGinnis. So just something I'm sure Coach Farley may not in 2 weeks to prepare for whatever he wants to prepare for. But what are your feelings about having an extra week to go from the quarterfinals to semifinals?
Well, like you said, uncharted territory that we've never had to do it. I think if we going forward, I would say if the OFBCA gets together, they should probably do the bye week after the semifinals. That way, like you said, if I'm looking at it as an AD, there's going to be 2 teams that get beat in this round, and those basketball coaches lost a week with those kids. If they would just do that at the end if they do it like normal Thanksgiving break, well, whichever 2 teams aren't playing anymore, those kids go to basketball on Monday on, December 2nd, instead of having to wait until December 8th or 9th. And so, and at that point, there's only 2 teams left. Now, if you're fortunate enough to be in this position, no one's going to complain. I can promise you that. And it's been good. It's a week to just kind of focus and obviously we've got a really good opponent that we're getting ready for. And so it's a week that you can get your bodies back. And I know Coach Jones is using it the same way we are. We're going to get kids rested and make sure kids feel as good as they can. This time of year, nobody feels great. Everybody's bodies are banged up. And if you play football and you play for 12 weeks, you're going to be banged up. You're going to be tired. And so to get a week of rest and a little more off their bodies, that's helpful. But we're also being smart about it. We're going to be a little lighter this week, and then next week we'll get right back to our normal game week preparation. And so we're calling it our bonus time with our kids. That's all it is, just bonus time. It's form rec, play rec. It's recognize what they do best and top plays and formations, and go from there.
And so, as you talked about with Coach Goff, POTD, practice on Thanksgiving Day, for the 9th straight year for Carl Albert. So it's a really important tradition. And you've mentioned that you guys have alumni that come to that. You already have some lined up for this week?
Well, so we'll do that next week once we're into real game preparation. So we're not doing it this week, but we will have on Thursday. We open that day up for alumni, and we want people to come out and hang out and watch and just be around. It's more of a family day than anything. We go really light. We go through a little run-through script where we call up all personnel groups, special teams, and kind of just go through a kick-the-field script where we'll go kick off and then go a 3-play drive against the defense, and then we'll do punt return, and offense will go 6 plays, kick an extra point, just kind of that type of deal where we just stay within the game, stay sharp with our rotations and with our Friday night personnel groups. But it's a short practice. It's quick. It's to the point, and we have people there, and it's just fun to see everybody come back. And there's always, 30 to 40 alumni, it seems like, sometimes more. And so it's a lot of fun. People look forward to it every year. We're pretty spoiled that we actually can have a tradition that's on Thanksgiving Day. And we always tell our kids, it's almost like these days we kind of take it for granted. Our kids just expect it. And it doesn't have the luster it used to, like when you get there, but it's a good thing. It's part of the blessings and the curses of, playing for a program like Carl Albert. So, but it'll be a good time.
All right, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving, and you guys, best of luck to you. And I guess it's now 13 days. So, or no, have a hard time with the math by 10 days. Best of luck to you in your game 10 days from now.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad display of math for a math teacher here. It's 10 days from now when Carl Albert and Del City will play a semifinal game for the right to play for the championship game a week later at UCO. And we had a lot going on today. I want to thank all the coaches. Next week on the Oklahoma Sports Network, we'll look at that game from a different perspective, and we hope to also take a look at Del City basketball as the Eagles get ready for their season in hoops as well. But once again, just to remind you that the Oklahoma Sports Network, Friday, December 6th, will have both 4A semifinals and both 5A semifinals. And the Carl Albert Del City game will have not one but two broadcasts, and both should be video streamed. So the Carl Albert broadcast will start at 6:30, kickoff at 7 for the Titans and Eagles. And Kirk Norman and Mike Goff will have that call for you. And again, Del City will have their broadcast with John Kilty and Colton Fleetwood. So you may see some names still we talk to later on. And, of course, John Kilty for Del City, he'll be announcing his last games Friday and maybe one more. We'll see. And so something to look forward to. All right. Once again, as always, we went long today. But, again, we had a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank Alicia Wooden. And I want to thank Dedrick Jones for being here on this Thanksgiving week. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and a good night.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.